Yo, what's good, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned, back with yet another JJK Phantom Parade video. We are finishing up our little quick session today, talking about all of the new SP buffs that just released, talking about the actual skill improvements that released, and just kind of like rating them. Oh, by the way, guys, I rated Kamo's SP buff like 8 out of 10, I think. I guess Yuji's SP buff is probably like around that same level as well. We're gonna look at Junpei's here though and see how he is looking, how he stacks up compared to his two brothers in blue. But if you guys do enjoy these videos, then you can definitely go down below. You can hit the like button, you can hit the subscribe, the notification bell, you can hit the glide every single time I decide to get you notified. I said that backwards and I ruined it and tried to save it, but it's cool because you can comment down below and let me know how you felt about that, and also let me know how you feel about this Junpei here. But we are going to go ahead and dive right into the SP buffs just to see how these characters are looking. Alright guys, so I'm looking here at Junpei, and we are not going to do the same thing we did in Yuji's video where I had to go over all of the skills to see how they would work in relation to the auto skills, because none of Junpei's auto skills got improved upon at all. Only his skills, like his actual active skills, got improved upon, or his attack skills, I guess you could say. I say active skills because they're not all attacks. Some of them are just skills that you have to actively choose. But we're going to go ahead and look over his Moondrag skill, which is his skill 2, which this skill right here is probably the one everybody was wide-eyeing whenever they said that they were going to be giving Junpei an SP buff, because they said that Junpei was going to be not only protecting the team, but also going to be giving buffs to the team as well. And it looks like they made true on that. So, the things that are still the same: grants attack nullification for 1 turn, 1 time. Same. Attracts all attacks to self for 1 turn, 1 time. Same. Increases own Jujutsu stat by 30% for 2 turns. Same. Decreases own damage received by 35% for 2 turns. That's new. Then decreases all allies damage received by 20% for 1 turn, 1 time. That is still the same. Actually, no, that's not the same, because now this is for 2 turns. So I'm not even all the way through the improvements for this skill, but you can see here, this man is now giving himself 35% damage reduction, and then his damage reduction that he's giving all of his allies is actually increased to 2 turns instead of 1 turn, which just makes it so much more impactful. Because say you had a really big turn or something like that, and you were buffing on that turn, and you stun the enemy on that turn or something like that, and then the enemy hits you with some crazy shit the next turn because they were stunned the last turn. Well, now if you have 2 turns of damage reduction on your entire team, they're going to be better prepared to eat that attack on that next turn after the turn that you initially gave them damage reduction. So that is a very big improvement, actually. Then other things that were added to this skill: increases yellow allies Jujutsu and Taijutsu stat by 15% for 3 turns. And that does not say 3 turns for 1 time. So yes, it is official. Yellow Junpei is now a buffer unit. But the buff skill does cost 30 cursed energy, so do keep that in mind. But yes, you got Kaito on the team or something like that, and you can cheese up your cursed energy, then yeah, you can get a crazy little buff going where your team is constantly getting, damage reduction, but they're also getting attack stats, and you're constantly getting, extra Jujutsu, and then you're also constantly getting, the damage or attack nullification, and then attracting everything. So like, it can get really crazy with this Junpei, right? Because before, it was just attracting attacks to yourself, and he doesn't always evade attacks. That does not always happen. I've seen it, trust me. I've tried to cheese a couple stages very early on, but the damage reduction definitely does help as an extra layer of insurance in the event that the evasion does not work, or the attack nullified, the dodge, the miss on the attack doesn't work, right? So he was definitely greatly improved in that regard. And also just the team-wide extra turn of damage reduction. But man, it is mainly that buff. I know it's only 15%, but still, that's just insane that he wasn't providing buffs before, because you have units that can provide buffs, right, for the team. But just the fact that he is passively doing it as well while also keeping the team fully protected, insane. Then also, he grants stun immunity to the ally behind himself for 1 turn now. So if there are bosses, I can't think of any bosses at the moment who stun you, or actually there are quite a few bosses that stun you, that's a lie, but now the ally behind Junpei can't get stunned, and I guess Junpei can't get stunned either because the attack wouldn't be able to hit him if he did evade the attack. So that skill actually got improved a very great deal. And honestly, I was willing to give Junpei the #1 spot for all of these SP updates that came out recently, just for that being turned into an attack buff and him getting the extra damage. But I feel like I'm liking Yuji a little bit more. I think Yuji is a little bit more impactful, but let's look over his skill 3 and see how this one looks now. Skill 3, Poison Stab. So it used to be 350% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Now it is 450% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Then it used to be deals 120% continuous damage poison to the selected enemy for 3 turns. Increases the selected enemy's damage received by 20%. Hold on. Deals 120% continuous Jujutsu damage poison to the selected enemy for 3 turns. Now it is deals 240% continuous Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy for 3 turns. So literally the DOT has been doubled and the actual direct damage has been increased by 100%, which is very good. But also Junpei is just not a big attack character, so that's probably not going to be as impactful as people think it will be. It might be some solid extra DOT with, like, you know, with Sukuna's DOT already being the main thing, but I don't really like running. They are kind of incentivizing us to run mono teams now, because a lot of the characters are kind of like predicated on the fact, like, oh, you need your entire team to be this color for them to take the benefits from this character. So don't know how often I'll be running this man Junpei besides Sukuna, but I mean, compositions could call for what they call for. Let's see. Increases the selected enemy's damage received by 20% for 3 turns 4 times. Increases the effect depending on how many turns of continuous Jujutsu poison damage the enemy has left. Up to an extra 30% at 3 turns left. And if multiple instances of the effect are applied, the one with the most turns left will be counted. So now let's see. Now it is increases the selected enemy's damage received by 25% instead of 20%. Now it is for 4 turns instead of 3 turns, and increase the effect depending on how many turns of continuous Jujutsu damage poison the enemy has, up to an extra 35% instead of 30%. So this has been improved by 5%. This has been improved by a turn. This has been improved by 5%. This has been doubled. This has been improved by 100%. So the skill might do some decent damage, some considerable damage. Now that I'm looking at Junpei, since he didn't get an auto skill buff at all, because you got to think, Kamo got an auto skill buff and then he got buffs to his skills as well. Yuji just got auto skill buffs, but like, man, those improvements were insane. And then Junpei only got basic buffs to his attacks or to his skills, which Junpei was actually a pretty good character, but like, he wasn't like overpowered break the game good. And honestly, I feel like they could have made him overpowered break the game good, but they still definitely did improve him a very great deal. So I'd give Junpei's SP buff probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Not to say that his SP buff was bad, he just didn't need as much, so he didn't get as much. That's why his SP buff is maybe not as good, but he can still be better than the other characters. But that's gonna be it for my ramblings on these SP buffs. I think Junpei is still a very cracked tier character though. Them making him a buffer in addition to this skill right here is also cracked, but this skill does cost 30 as well. So that was another thing that I kind of like let my mind run free with, right? If this was like a skill that costs 20 cursed energy or something like that, or maybe even 25 cursed energy, it would be a little bit better. But yeah, this skill being improved as a DPS skill is not bad, but I just don't see many situations. Like, you know, extra DOT doesn't hurt. Extra DOT does not hurt at all. But I don't think it's gonna be one of those things that puts the final nail in the coffin against the boss whenever you are fighting a boss. But nonetheless, Junpei still has improved. So if you guys did enjoy the video, then please go down below, leave a like on the video, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man decides to glide. And you can also comment down below and let me know, do you think that my ranking of Junpei's SP buff is a little more harsh than the other two? I feel like the other two, it's like, I think Junpei is still very great. Don't get me wrong, because now he is a support. I mean, what is a support anyway? Somebody who either debuffs the enemy or buffs the team or keeps your team from getting debuffed, you know, or keeps the enemy from getting buffed. All those things classify a debuffer. So in all technicality, Junpei was a support, yes, but he was a very specific kind of support. Now with that attack buff skill, he is a more generalized support, and you know, this is always going to be good. Attack nullification, you know, attracts all enemy attacks, all that, and the damage reduction gives his team. So maybe Junpei is an 8 out of 10 as well. Did everybody just get an 8 out of 10 from the Deadman on their rankings? I don't know, but that's gonna be it from the video. The Deadman does love you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the SP buff characters. I will be making a tier list pretty soon talking about who you should be SP buffing first and last, but be on the lookout for that, Magic Knights. That'll be it for your boy. Peace.